Hello everybody, this is Jasmina, and in this video I'm going to talk about in more detail than I think I have in the past about analyzing the flying stars in your flying star chart and in the purple white chart. And they're actually stars, not flying stars in the purple white, but the stars that are in these two charts. Now, the flying star chart is one of the most important ones, especially if you live in a house. It's not so strong in an apartment, but it governs the outside opportunities in any given sector of your residence. The purple-white chart governs how happy you feel in a given sector. And it depends on the person how important this is. Sometimes happiness isn't the right word. Sometimes fulfillment will make you happy. Sometimes getting the job done can make you happy. Whereas another person, that might not be true. So this is a little bit vague exactly how this works. But in general, it just makes you feel better to be in that sector if the purple white chart, that sector has good stars. Now they change every year, so this varies a lot. Now the Cheeman chart governs how satisfied or fulfilled you are by the activity you are doing in that given sector. So this is something that doesn't change, just like the flying star chart doesn't change, but it may have a slightly bigger effect than the purple-white chart because the purple-white chart changes every year. So, but this is more permanent, the Cheeman chart. Now, I'm not going to talk in detail about the Cheeman chart because I have in other videos, but I may renew that one at some point. Now, rarely are all three charts positive in one sector. There's usually something that's negative there. Of course, the flying star chart and the purple-white chart can actually have special formations, and which basically make all stars timely for all periods, and so everything is good. And so then it's all down to the Cheeman chart. And still, there will be negative things in your Cheeman chart. That's unavoidable. Everybody has the death door in their house somewhere. It does not mean death, it means change. And I really wish they would change the name to change rather than death, because everybody freaks out. Now, if you do happen to have one sector where everything is really good, inevitably there'll be another sector when everything is negative. That just is the way it seems to work. Now, again, you can have your flying star chart with a special formation that is activated, and that's important. It has to be activated. And you can have a special formation in your purple-white chart. And that one is activated by time, so you don't have to worry about that. If you have these two, you are way, way ahead of the game. And a lot of practitioners will work hard to find a house that has both. It's not easy. You can do this with apartments too, and actually the apartments is a little easier because you just have to be on the right floor. So this is something to consider when you are looking for new houses. But you might get lucky and have this in your existing house, especially the flying star, because every house with a definitive facing direction has the possibility of a special formation. So whether or not it's activated is the question. And I do have another video that talks all about this, actually 2 videos that will talk all about that. Now, the heart of analyzing your flying star chart is understanding the growth and controlling cycles of the 5 elements. If you don't understand this really, really well, you're going to have a very hard time analyzing your chart. So this is the first thing you need to do. And also, you need to understand if either the facing or sitting star is supported. It could be one or the other, it could be both, or it could be none. It could be neither of them. So that also helps you understand what that sector is good for. Now, the support can come through the growth, or it can come through being controlled, not controlling, but being controlled by something else. Now, being controlled basically means it balances it out. It tamps it down. If it's too strong, that's not good. Just like in your Batsa chart, if you have an element that's very strong, that's not good. This basically brings it down. And actually, your Batsa may have some influence on this too. If you have let's say you have a lot of water in your chart and you want to use the facing star 1 because this helps you find a mentor, actually having that one controlled will bring that energy down to a healthier level, because if you're really high with water, you may find a mentor who's very inconsistent because there's a lot of flexibility with water. And having the one being controlled actually could be good because it makes it a more balanced thing, and you have a more normal mentor that will just help you without going crazy. Now, control is a form of balance, and this is very important in most of Chinese culture. They don't like extremes. This has been true for, even now it's true, although I think they're starting to recognize that occasionally some people with extremes are good. But it can be quite tricky. Now, ideally, you'll also have chi flow to the relevant star in your house. And I have a video about doing chi flow. That one is also quite complicated, but it uses the same kind of rules here. So you still need to understand them. Now, it is possible that one of the two is supported, both are supported, or neither are supported. So this is what you need to be checking when you're looking at this. I would say you still can use a certain sector even if it's not supported. It just means you have to work harder. That's all. It's not like a disaster, but if you have a choice of 2 rooms that are the right kind, you want to choose the one that is supported if you can. I mean, sometimes it doesn't happen, but oftentimes it does. Now, if the sitting star is supported, in general, the sector is better for health and relationships. So it's better for a kitchen, it's better for a bedroom. If the facing star is supported, it is better for career and wealth. And so this is, this can be a home office. This is a really good thing for your main door, or if you're in an apartment, for wherever the incoming chi is coming from. So all that is very, very good. In general, the sector is good, or at least better, if the supported star is also a timely star. And this is why, of course, you want to have all stars be timely if you can. And that will help a lot in terms of how hard you have to work. And all stars, of course, have a positive and negative side. So if the star is timely by activation of a special formation, you're going to be much, much more likely to experience the positive side of the star. It's supposed to be guaranteed, but I would say there might be times when it's not, when maybe you've activated an annual affliction, you might actually, well, it's actually the annual affliction that's giving you trouble. But, it doesn't mean 100% because you still have to deal with the annual afflictions. Now, the base star is where we usually start in looking at the analysis. And that's because the base star represents future opportunities. So you want the base star to support either the facing or sitting star, or perhaps both. So, this is what you're looking for. Now, the base star may or may not be supported. It's possible that it can be, and it does make a little bit of difference. It can, sometime when the base star is supported, it actually allows it to give more energy to whichever facing or sitting star it's supporting. But it really is a little bit more tricky, depends on the details. But it's usually not very helpful if the base star is the only star that's supported. That would mean neither the facing or sitting star is supported. That is, your efforts go into producing future opportunities. It's depending where you are in your life, it's okay. It's usually not terribly harmful, but it's usually not very helpful either. So if you can avoid using those sectors for important activities, this doesn't hurt to have it there. It's just not so good for important activities. So that's something to be aware of. So here is the growth cycle. This is in green, and the controlling cycle is in red. You've seen this before if you've been watching my videos or if you've been watching almost anybody's videos. And this is what you need to understand how to interpret your chart. Now, water is 1, earth is the 2, the 5, and the 8. Wood is 3 and 4, and the metal are 6 and 7, and the fire is 9. So I put them there, and this is how you know how to interpret it, because you know what elements these guys are now. Timeliness does come into play in terms of if this star is there, is it timely? Then you're going to activate the good side. If it's untimely because you don't have a special formation activated, it usually will bring out the bad side. So that is something to be really conscious of. Now, if your special formation is not activated, then 3, 5, and 7 are untimely in period 9. We're kind of lucky because 2 is no longer untimely. It has, because of time, 2 becomes future wealth, because that's the double side of 2. When 2 is untimely, it is the illness star or the sickness star. And when it's timely, it's a wealth star. And in period 1, it'll also be timely. And in period 2, it will be present wealth. It will be as strong as possible. But then once we reach period 3, it becomes a very serious illness star again. Now, your flying star chart will depend on the period of your residence and its facing direction. If you're in an apartment or condo, flat, whatever these things are, any of these multiple family units or buildings, the facing direction is the facing direction of the entire building, not of your unit, but of the entire building. Sometimes this is easy, sometimes it's a real challenge. For example, some of the new buildings are, very curvilinear. They're not, square and clearly facing a certain direction. So this can be a challenge, and you may need help with this, unless you can sense it. I mean, usually I can sense it when I see a building pretty easily, but sometimes it's hard. Now, for single-family homes, the facing direction is usually facing the road, and it's typically facing perpendicular to the wall that's closest to facing the road. You could have your house tilted compared to the road, but the biggest tilt could be 45 degrees, because then it would be another wall. So this is not as hard. Now, the only time it isn't facing the road basically is if you have a really broad open space or a lake is even better, in a direction other than the road. And if you have houses beside you and behind you, you definitely face the road. And that's the case for over 90% of the houses out there. Now, I am a stickler for using True North because Qi is energy. Everybody agrees on that. And energy that is just not affected by magnetic fields, because this kind of energy is not a charged particle. It is more like light. And light does not bend with the magnetic fields. It can slow down if it's super strong magnetic field, but that doesn't happen here on Earth. Our fields are not that strong, but it does not bend. So this is why you really need to use True North. And people like Joey Yap will say, oh, just use a compass. Well, where he lives, True North and Compass North are very close together, although they're going to be changing, because right now Compass North, the magnetic North Pole is moving very fast. So it will change, and it changes every single year. So this is why I just use True North. I know it's correct. And in most other places, other than where Joey Yap lives and a few other places, the difference between Compass North and True North is really quite big. Where I live, it's almost 10 degrees. And that can put you in the wrong facing direction. And that happened to me when I moved in before we had Google Earth or Google Maps. I had the house facing the wrong direction because, or, I thought it was the wrong direction because the compass was that far off. Now, your flying star chart, once you've got your period, which can be a little tricky too, but once you have your period and your facing direction, you can find your flying star chart very easily on the web and for free. So I don't bother with that in my website. So now the period for an apartment is basically the year the place was built. It's the year that first people moved in. And that is usually the year it was built. So, and unless it was built on a year where it flipped, then, from one period to the next, it's not hard to know. For a house, a period can change by nobody living in the house for a long time. That typically happens when you have a person inherit it who's not already living there, or when it's a foreclosure. So a lot of times that will take longer than 90 days, and that will change the period of the house. So this is a bit tougher. But I've worked through people, and we usually can agree upon something when we do this. Now, there is a separate video that gives tables of what potential special formation your residents may or may not have. And so this is one of my old videos. I think it's, special formations, all houses, all periods, something like this. It's there. Now, 5 of the 6 formations of the special formations require certain landforms to be present to be activated. So this is one key thing if you are trying to find a house, you must know which landforms you need. And I'm covered that in I think in a separate video called Activating Your Special Formation, something like that. Now, 4 of these formations, if activated, create a permanent condition where all stars are timely for all periods. The other 2 are only good for the period on which the house was, either in which the house was built or at least when that star is timely. Then it's usually also good. So and it will make more sense if you watch those videos. I just can't spend all this time on all the details. Now, I also have a video that will explain how to find your purple-white chart, but I also have a relatively inexpensive product that will give you all possible charts for a residence with a given key number. And in this video where I talk about how to find your purple-white chart, I tell you how to find your key number. So that's all you need if you want a shortcut. Now, there's also a video that tells you what requirements are to have a special formation in your purple-white chart, or in a purple-white chart. So these 2 videos together will give you what you need to know. Now, I'm going to give you some examples of the flying star charts where both the facing and the sitting stars are supported. So I'll go through this. If you know how to do this and you can do this on your own in 10 seconds, you can skip forward a bit. But here we have 9 is fire, 2 and 5 are earth. So the 9 grows both the 2 and the 5. Now the 2 and the 5 don't sound like very good, but 2 right now isn't an illness star. It's not terribly useful in the sitting position, but it's not unuseful either. I mean, basically, it means that your health, that good health you have in this sector, will actually help you with be able to produce money. That is, your health won't make you lose money. Now, this one doesn't have any special formation associated with it other than one of the two that isn't permanent, not it doesn't have the possibility of have permanently good stars, even if it's activated. But this one could be a 7-star robbery. But pretty rare because it would have to be a very old house that never changed its period. But here we have controlling. This is earth. Earth controls water. It muddies water. That's how I remember it. And this guy also, of course, could be in a 7-star robbery. At least it has the right few stars. And this is, again, the same kind of controlling thing. So this one would be a newly built house today. It's going to have a one sector, either the facing or sitting sector, that has double 9s. That's what happens in period 9. Now, this guy is a possible base facing combo 10, which is a good formation and relatively easy to activate. And so the metal controls the wood, it chops the wood, and it grows the water. Simple as that. This guy could possibly be part of a parent string. And parent strings are quite strong, but of course this needs landforms, as do these two. This one doesn't. It's better with good landforms, but it doesn't need it. Here we have the growth. This is again metal. Metal produces water and it controls wood. And it also is, like I said, possibly part of a good formation, a really strong special formation. And then this last one, also, this is wood. Wood produces fire. It controls earth. This one, again, is maybe only part of one of those two that aren't permanent. But it's still a good star if these things are timely. And right now, 2 is timely and so is 9. So this would be a good sector for either health or wealth. Now, your BOTSA can also help you determine if what is being supported is good for you. It depends on your level of that element. If the level of the element is very high in your chart, then having it controlled is better than having it grown. So let's say your water is very high. Well, then this isn't so great because you may be doing too many different things because water is flexibility. You may be trying to improve your health, but you're not giving enough time for a different treatment to know whether or not it works. And so you're just bouncing around and may not get something fixed. But if it's low, this is very good. If your water is low, this would be quite good. Now, it doesn't really matter if it's a favorable or unfavorable star or element, I'm sorry, for your particular BOTSA. It has its own energy. it represents like one represents flexibility. So this may make you, let's say, if it's low and your health is your concern, well then you may learn to be or have the tendency to become more flexible in your diet, because diet has a lot to do with health. So this is something that you can consider. Same thing here. If again we're looking at water and we're talking about your earning, because this is the facing star, this helps you be more flexible at work, learn new things more easily, and be less rigid, and that usually helps earning money. So this is something to look at. Now, if it is really high, well, you have to then kind of rein in, know that you might have trouble with being too flexible, and you might have to rein that in, and maybe this isn't the best sector. It depends on how much self-discipline you have. Now, again, if the level is low, it's better to be grown than controlled. So this is just something to look at. Now, we can also look at the relationship between the two stars. Now, whenever they're the same element, it's kind of neutral. They may help each other a bit, but it goes back and forth. So it depends on what your need is. So this one, because they're the same number, could be used either for health or for wealth, obviously. So, but here, water produces wood. So this is a little bit more supported of the financial side, because we have two things supporting or helping the facing star. Here, it is the sitting star that is more supported, and here again it's the facing star. So you can do all this, and you can look at your sectors. Now, one important sector to look at is your main door if you're in a house. And the main door is the one where packages are delivered to and people knock on the door when they come to visit. Not the door you use most often to get in and out of your house, especially if it's to an attached garage. That is not your main door. If it's an apartment, you're looking at where does the chi come in. That will be your main door. The effect of what your main door is. It's where you have the direct access to the outside, and it's usually the middle of your balcony door if you have a balcony, or your largest window, and if it's operable, it's even better, in the family part of the apartment. So, but I do go into a lot more detail in the individual videos, and I even have one video that just discusses how to do feng shui for an apartment. Now, we also have the possibility that neither facing or sitting stars are supported. So here's one where we have a controlling. The only star here that is supported is the base star. Kind of a waste, because this is, basically this means that if you work, let's say you put your home office here, you have a tendency to be only helping your future wealth, and you're not getting any immediate effects. Now, that's not terrible if you're very young and you're in an entry-level position. That actually could be useful, but you wouldn't want to do that once you start moving up. You would want to move your office. Now, this case, again, this is being supported, and in this case, 4 is wood, which usually represents growth. This is even more just giving the energy to future. And again, it's okay to use when you're starting out on like a new project. This is not a bad place, but you don't want to stay there long term, because then you never move forward to actually making it work for you in real time. Again, this one is like this. We have the controlling. Now, this one is not part of, I mean, it could be part of the 2 that don't give permanently good ones. good stars, timely stars. This one and this one, again, are possible 7-star robberies. And so this is pretty similar. Now, this one, again, everything is going here. Now, this could still be part of a base facing combo 10. So it isn't terrible. And we have, in this case, kind of a little bit more helpful for health, because at least this supports this. But it's not going to be terribly strong, because there's also energy going to the 4. So this could be useful to perhaps start looking up some new data on a health condition you find out you have, or maybe somebody else in your family has. That is a possibility, but it isn't the place to actually find the answer. It's a place to start. Now this one is a possible parent string. No, not parent string, pearl string. And again, they're both supporting the base star, but here there's a little bit of support for the facing star. So again, this could be where you would maybe start researching about a certain topic, but don't stay there to actually apply it. And then this one is, again, a little bit more towards the facing, but it's still not very strong. And this one is also one like this where, oh no, this one actually has a possibility. This is a possibility of a base sitting combo 10. So this could be one of those that also make stars timely for all periods. So only this one doesn't. The rest of these have the possibility. This one and this one do not absolutely need to have landforms. Better if they do, but the remaining 3 absolutely must have the right landforms in the right locations. So to make all stars timely. So again, it's nice if they can be timely, and this is why practitioners for their own places work so hard to find one of these. Now, these places in general are best for storage spaces or bathrooms, even living rooms. Living rooms are fine. Living rooms where you sit and relax and don't work, they don't have to have really good stars. If you just watch TV or play video games, that is not an important room. So just remember that. And even a piano room or a music room isn't important unless that's your job. If it's a place where you enjoy things, totally fine. It can have any stars. And because you're not doing important things for your life. Relaxing is important, but that's not included in terms of what is really truly considered an important room. Now I'm going to look at the ones that support the facing star only. So here we have this. Now it goes around in a circle, even though the facing star is supporting the sitting star, the base star is supporting the facing star. So it kind of makes the energy kind of go round and round, and it is actually good. But we look at what is the base star doing? It's supporting the facing star. Now this one is not part of a special formation that makes all stars timely for all periods. It just doesn't have the right numbers. This one could be part of a parent string. And again, it is similar, but now we actually have the energy going the different way. This one is stronger than this one. This one is a little bit better for a place for a home office or your front door, wherever the main chi is coming in. Now this one is a little bit easier. Everything is going to the facing star. Now these two are the same. They don't really interact. I mean, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt anything. They both just support one way. Now this one is also not part of one of those formations that make all stars timely for all periods. This one is this same pattern. Again, doesn't have a special formation that is permanently good. This one, we actually seen this kind of setup before with the numbers interchanged, but this one can be part of a pearl string, and so it can have permanently good numbers. And again, overall, it is the facing star that's supported. And this one could be part of a base sitting combo 10. So this could be part of a really good house. Um, the thing is you might have one of these somewhere in your chart. But it might not be part of like a combo 10. You have to have this equal 10 in all boxes, in all sectors. So you do have to look at your whole chart to know. So here, since it's a facing star that's supported, then this is a better place to have either your main door, or if you're in an apartment, wherever the chi is entering from for your particular unit, or for a home office. This is what it's for. This will help with your career and with your wealth. And that would include like researching things for investments. Now this one is supporting the sitting star only. We're going to go through these. Now this one, I maybe should have spent a little more time on, but I was getting pretty bored by this point. But anyway, we have here where we've got, instead of the counterclockwise, what we had before, this is a clockwise thing. This isn't bad. This energy is good, and it has, we do look at the base star. This is why when we have something like this, this is what we look at. The base star supports the sitting star. The facing star supports the base star. So it is not supporting the facing star. So this in general, the facing star is better supported. Now it's not as good as supported if this arrow were turned around, but it's not, because it can't be, because this is the way the energy flows. Now again, this one does not have a special formation possible of the 4 that make all stars timely for all periods, if it's activated, of course. Now this one is the same general thing, and I just wanted to show you, with a bunch of different ones, you can get the same kind of energy flowing. In general, this is good for the sitting star. Now, if 7 is not timely, this isn't as good as this. In period 9, 4 is quite timely. So this one is better than this one. Unless, and the thing is this also cannot have one of those 4 special formations that make all stars timely for all periods. So this one is not going to be quite as good. However, you do have a HER2 here, so it's not the worst. This one, everything is supporting the sitting star. And this is a HER2 combo, which is nice. And this is a good timely star for period 9 at least. When we reach period 1, star 9 is no longer timely, because again, this one doesn't have the possibility of having one of those 4 special formations. This is basically the same type of energy. Everything is going to the sitting star, but this one is actually a little better, because 1 is also timely, and 1 generally is timely. It's a lot more timely than 9 would be for all periods, and we have this being truly supported. And again, this is not a possible combination that can be part of one of the 4 special formations that I keep talking about. This one is again like this one. It is again not so great, because the 7 is here, and right now 7 is not timely, and this cannot be part of one of the for special formations. Kind of a bummer, but that's the way it is. This one, finally, this one can be part of a pearl string. So this one could be permanently good if you actually have the pearl string activated. And that's a very key thing. It has to be activated. And that's, again, it's really the same way. This one was actually a little hard to find stars that were not in this general pattern. I'm not quite sure why, but maybe I was getting too tired. But anyway, this is supported. And 8, even though this particular time, 8 is not, it's as weak as it can be, it is still a good star. So in general, so this, if it's part, especially if it's part of the pearl string, then it's very good. And an activated pearl string, of course. Now, when the facing star is supporting the sitting star, it may mean that you need to spend some money to preserve your health, and that is always worth it. Now, this can mean also a healthy diet and exercise, not just medical treatments. So this is worth spending money on if you have a condition where you need to. And actually, the diet is one of the most important things that determines what your health is like. Now, this, of course, is better for kitchens and bedrooms. One of these kinds are better for kitchens or bedrooms. Now, in most places, most houses and apartments, especially apartments, the kitchen can only be in one place. It's wherever it is. If you have a house, yes, theoretically you can move the kitchen, but moving kitchens are quite expensive. So it's better to kind of deal with what you have, unless you are designing a house. And then you can put the kitchen and the bedrooms where you want to. But if you're moving into a place that already exists, you know, most of the time you don't have, especially if it's a small place, you don't have much choice for a bedroom. It's got to be one place. And so if these two rooms have a timely sitting star and chi flows to the subsector with the headboard for the bedroom or the range or stove for the kitchen, then these are good locations for these items, and the room is generally good to use. Now, if the sitting star is also supported, it makes it even better. But timeliness is key. So one place I would not like to have a kitchen, in general, there's a few periods where it's okay, but in general, I would not like to have a kitchen where the sitting star is 5, unless you have one of those special formations that make all stars timely for all periods, and it's activated. Then what happens is that star 5 becomes a wealth star. Just like the star 2 goes from illness to wealth, star 5 will go from problematic, lots of problems, to wealth. And so this means that the food you cook in that kitchen will give you enough energy and it's good for your health that you are able to earn more money. So that's what it would mean. So you do interpret things that way, depending on what star that is, but it needs to be timely. If your kitchen does not have a timely sitting star, it is usually better either to figure out how to rearrange something if you can, or move. I mean, this is really important because there's nothing more important than your health. All you have to do is be sick to know that. Now, another factor is the facing direction of the bed and the range. They should be in positive or useful directions for you. Now, the range, depending on if you have a house that has people with a west group and east group, which is pretty common, then you try to find a location where the range is good for the people in one group and it is in a useful direction for the people in the other group. This can be quite hard, but if you really can't do it, what you do is whoever's the breadwinner, the biggest breadwinner, they have a range that's in a good direction for themselves. Unless perhaps maybe you have a child who is seriously ill, and then maybe you would choose the child over you. But these should be in positive or at least useful directions. And I have a video that tells you the positive, the useful, and the bad directions. And the useful directions aren't usually considered good, but they have their use. So for your main door and for your home office, you want to have timely facing stars. And of course, if they're supported, it's even better. Now, for the home office, you also want to have chi flow to the desk. And again, the chi flow can come from the main door or usually a balcony door or largest window in an apartment to your desk. And it would have to flow through, get to your desk through the normal chi flow patterns. It could also come from a window in the room with the home office. So it could be either way. If it comes through the main chi, it's a little better. It's a stronger type of thing, but a window is fine. And in apartments, of course, you can really change the location of the incoming chi. In a house, you may be able to change the position of your main door, which would change where the chi comes in. And that could make a big difference. And sometimes it doesn't take a lot of a change to make it work. It won't be cheap, but it also won't be terribly expensive either. It'll be certainly cheaper than putting another wing on your house or another, adding like a third of the area if you're trying to change your period. So it's disruptive, but not terrible. Now, at least you want to have, if at all possible, the incoming chi into your house in general from your main door. If it can be in a good direction, that's very, very good. So you can't always have, like I've said many times, there's no such thing as perfect feng shui. You can't always have everything. You get the most of what you can with what you have. That's how you work feng shui. But there are places that really, really are problematic. For example, a kitchen with a sitting star 5. Of course, if you don't eat, if you don't cook, then it's no big deal. So it's something to consider anyway. But you're not going to have perfect chi or perfect feng shui. I can guarantee you that. You just do the best you can. Now, your desk direction should be placed in a good direction for you. And you can locate it in a certain sector of the room to get the chi flow, and you then turn the desk to a good direction for you. That's, the way to do it. And if it's at your home, we don't worry about if you're back into the door or anything because it's your house. In a office, that's another question. And that's a whole nother video. Now, the stars in the purple-white chart are generally easier to analyze as each star doesn't have its own meaning. In the flying star chart, we had the sitting star is health, the facing star is wealth, and the base star is future opportunity. None of that is occurring in the purple-white chart. So these are just 3 stars, and one of them is the annual star that tell you the general energy in that area, and it has to do with how happy you are. And it's purported to have an effect on your happiness. And it does change every year because the annual star is part of it. So, of course, it's going to change. Now, not everybody feels a strong effect from the purple-white stars. I don't think I feel much from this. And we don't have a special formation in the current house we live in. But I don't change. I mean, the thing is I don't change the location of where I'm working very often. And I certainly don't change it every year because it's too much of a hassle to move everything. And since I'm not feeling this effect, from year to year, it's outside things that make me happy or unhappy, not so much where I'm sitting. To me, I don't feel this. I could just be not very affected by it. But there will be people who are strongly affected by it. So I can't explain why. It just doesn't seem to bother me. Maybe it's because I've been in so many different places. You know, I don't, I just don't tend to have that effect. Now, the way you look at this is every year, every single number is reduced by 1 at the start of the Tiger month. And so this means the stars move around, but the pattern, the groups of stars stay together. They just move in the Lo-Shu pattern. And so this means that if you have a special formation one year, you have a special formation all years. And that is another reason why you can actually look for a place like this. And it's pretty easy in an apartment because you just have to be on a certain floor. Now, there again can be special formations in the purple white stars, and I have a video that talks specifically about that. And basically, when we're looking at the quality of the purple white stars within any given sector, it's either going to be major timely or major untimely stars. And that's for ones that don't have a special formation. And that is very possible. Now, this one you can also change by changing the location of your main door. Sometimes it can really help. Sometimes it might not work because you're not going to have your main door go from the front of your house to the back of the house. That would be very confusing for people. So in general, you have a limited ability to change that, but it can be changed. So this is one of the easier charts to deal with. So remember, there is no such thing as perfect feng shui. So you need to look at those 3 charts, and they do affect different aspects of your life, and determine what your most pressing need is. And that will determine the best location for certain activities. And also will maybe determine between 2 different houses which one is better for this point in time in your life. And that means that, yeah, at some other time you're probably going to move. Most people don't stay in the same house their entire lives anymore. We're much more mobile than we used to be. Now, the flying star chart, again, governs the outside opportunities that come your way. It is permanent unless you make some big changes. If you move your door, your main door, this doesn't change at all. Flying star chart doesn't care about your main door. It cares about your facing direction and the period of your house. Now, you can change the period of your house somewhat easily by being out of the house 90 days, but then if your house is not paid off, you have to pay rent someplace else to stay, and you can't just switch houses. The place has to be unoccupied for 90 days. So but if you really need to change the period, you can do that. So the purple white chart governs your happiness level in a given sector. It changes every year and it has a 9-year repeat. You can have a special formation here. This one is activated by time. You can have special formations in your flying star chart. Most of the time you need the right landforms. So this one is the tougher one. But this one I think is the more important one, especially if you live in a house. If you live in an apartment, this one might be more important because you only get a piece of the flying star chart in an apartment, but you get the full of your particular purple white chart. And this one, changing the location of your incoming chi would change your purple white chart. But the key number has to do, if it's a house, it has to do with your address, which typically cannot be changed. It depends where you live, of course, but usually there is a set thing and you are given an address and you just have to live with that address. But in an apartment, you can choose your floor to make this work because you probably cannot choose your incoming chi. You can't move it. That's almost always true. Now, the Chi-Men chart governs how satisfied you are with whatever activity you are doing in the room. But this is permanent, again, unless changes occur, like a change in a period. This one you can also change by changing the location of your main door. So this one is a little easier to change than the Flying Star. The Flying Star one is the hardest. Of course, if it's a house, then this is you're going to get the full effect of this. Now, there's no such thing as a special formation in a Cheeman chart. They're just the Cheeman chart. Now, if you're in an apartment, these two are the more important ones, and you probably will not be able to change your Cheeman chart at all, because you probably cannot change the location of your incoming chi, and you cannot change the period of the building, because it's based on the building. So outside factors would have to change it for you. You cannot do that yourself. So you can watch the other videos. I have tons of other videos. I've referred to them. Just search my channel. You should be able to find it. I do have a playlist of the feng shui. It's ridiculously many videos on that, but they should all be in there. So I'd like to thank you for watching. I know this was a long one, and I would like to congratulate you if you made it this far. Hopefully it was informative for you and will help you in understanding your own feng shui. And if you are talking to any practitioners, you are already ahead of the game, so you can understand what's going on. Thanks again for watching.